Hi there. Welcome back to Very Good Yoga with Billy. My name is Billy, and for today's class, let's make sure we have two blocks, the highest height somewhere near the top of the mat, and maybe a strap for a binding if that's something that you need. Let's come into a comfortable seat. Let's get started. And what I'm going to have you do is put your hands behind you and with your knees bent, step your feet out wide to the edges of the mat. And then starting with a fairly dynamic movement today, start to windshield wiper your legs left and right. So we're starting to wake up through the hips, we're starting to wake up through the lower back. And maybe even wake up the upper body as well. You know, there is a little bit of twisting and rotation going on when we do this. So this is option one. Maybe this is where you stay. But if you want a little bit more, can you keep the action? Can you keep the work of the legs, but lift your arms off the ground to about shoulder chest height so your forearms are parallel with the floor? Maybe this is where you stay. Like maybe this is like a pretty good time. But if you want to take this a step further, option three, the next time your knees drop over to the right, stand up on your shins, lift your hips off the floor, and then slowly lower your butt back down. Drop your knees to the left, stand up on your shins, and then rinse and repeat. Slowly lower your butt, drop your knees to the right, stand up on your shins, and then try to get about like 2 or 3 more rounds of this on your own. And of course, if standing up on your shins like this is a little too much too soon, stick with one of the first 2 options. But finishing up whatever it is you are working on with this movement, come back to your seat, plant your hands behind you if they're not there already, and step your feet on the floor about hips width distance apart. So coming into a reverse tabletop, press your feet down and lift your hips off the ground. If this bothers your wrist, having your fingers pointing straight ahead, point your fingertips out. Press the feet down so your hips are the highest point of your body in the air. And just notice we're creating 90-degree angles in the knees. We're creating 90-degree angles in the armpits. And if it doesn't bother your head and neck, allow it to hang behind you so you begin to open up to the front of the throat. 3 rounds of lion's breath. Inhale through your nose. And then open up the mouth, stick out the tongue, and let it go. Good. 2 more like that. Inhale through the nose. Open up the mouth, stick out a tongue, maybe make an ugly face. Last one, big breath in. Last one, make it nasty. Exhale, let it go. Sit your butt back down. And let's begin to make our way back to downward facing dog. My glasses are starting to fog up already, you guys. We're going to have a good time today. It's going to be a fun class. So take a moment in your home base. Take a moment to land in this downward facing dog. On your next inhale, look forward, shift forward, come into plank pose, gazes ahead of the mat. And then use your belly and lift the hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Twice more like that. Inhale, look forward, shift forward, come into your plank pose. Downward facing dog, send the hips up high. Last one. Inhale, look forward, shift forward to a plank pose. Downward facing dog, send the hips up and back. Please just step your right foot forward and come into a runner's lunge, please. So keep your hands on the floor. In fact, stay up on tented fingertips. Squeeze your feet together like you could scrunch the yoga mat underneath you. And stay level through the pelvis. So the left butt reaches to the left, but the right butt reaches to the right. Inhale, look forward. Feed the heart and the chest forward. And then keep the belly connected to your front right leg as you step your back foot up to meet your front foot for a forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up to stand, reach the arms up high. And then can you stay as tall as you are right now? As you lower your arms into a Tadasana, maybe get a little bit taller when you reach your fingers to the floor. Turn your palms forward. Inhale, reach the arms up, Urdhva. Press your feet down. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Keep looking forward. Length stays the same. Right foot steps back. This is a quick one, runner's lunge. Inhale to downward facing dog is the exhale. Inhale, look forward, shift to plank or tuck-toed upward facing dog if you're ready. And if you're taking the tuck-toed upward facing dog, your legs are doing the work of plank pose. So the thighs lift up and your heels reach back. Downward facing dog, send the hips up high. Lower your knees. Untuck your toes, child's pose. Sink your hips to your heels and rest your forehead down on the floor. So keep the shape of your child's pose. Reach your arms out, reach your arms back, and frame your feet with your hands. So it's like a pseudo embryo pose. Sit up on your shins. Reach the arms overhead. Inhale, maybe look up. Exhale, shift forward, plant your palms, downward facing dog, tuck the toes and send the hips up high. Second side, step your left foot forward and come into your runner's lunge, please. So this is a pretty active runner's lunge. Your feet are hugging together. Your right butt goes to the right, your left butt goes to the left, and your gaze is out in front of you to help stay long through the whole spine. Inhales, lengthen. Keep the belly connected to the left leg. As you step up, your back foot to meet the right foot into a forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Maybe use your hands to pull you in a little bit more. Inhale, come up to stand, Urdhva. Stay as tall as you are right now as you come into Tadasana with your palms facing in. So this is a more neutral position for your arms in Tadasana. And when you turn your palms forward, this is external rotation. Inhale, Urdhva. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back, crown of the head forward, shoulders away from your ears. Keep looking forward as you step your left foot long and back, runner's lunge. Inhales, lengthen to downward facing dog. Step your right foot next to your left foot. Inhale, look forward, shift forward to a plank or a tuck-toed upward facing dog. Legs are engaged the whole time. Downward facing dog. Send the hips up and back. Lower your knees, untuck your toes. Child's pose with your hips toward your heels. Keep your forehead on the floor. Reach your arms out, reach your arms back, and frame your feet with your hands. Sit up on your shins. Inhale the arms up high, maybe look up. Exhale, lean forward, pitch forward, plant your palms, and come into your downward facing dog with the hips up high. Please step your right foot forward and come into a runner's lunge. So come up onto tented left fingertips. And this time I'm going to have you bring your right hand to your sacrum, the flat bony part of the lower back. To initiate the twist, look forwards. Imagine you're tracing a line up the front wall until the left eyeball goes directly above you overhead. Use your right hand, right? So the right hand is on your sacrum to collect inventory. Most likely you could lift the left hip bone up and hug the outer right hip in more. And then if this is feeling pretty good for you here, reach the right arm up into the ceiling so you begin to continue to stack the shoulders. Inhale the top arm forwards. And on your out breath, forward fold. Step your back foot up to meet your front foot. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come up to stand, reach up, rise. Stay as tall as you are right now as you come into Tadasana. Arms go by your sides. A little bit different this time. Turn your palms forward. Inhale, Urdhva. Right foot steps to the left, so there's a small curtsy in your legs and your arms are by your sides. So your right foot should be off the yoga mat completely here. And the right knee is more or less behind the left knee. And then look forward in front of your mat. Frame the front left foot. Step your right foot runner's lunge. Inhale the heart forwards. To downward facing dog. Step your left foot next to your right foot. Inhale, look forward, shift forward to plank or tuck-toed upward facing dog. Reach your heels back like they were glued to the wall behind you. And then send it. Downward facing dog, the hips go high. Lower your knees, untuck your toes, child's pose, sink your hips to your heels. Keep your forehead on the mat as you reach your arms out, reach your arms back, frame your feet with your hands. And sit up on your shins. So this time I'm going to give you an option to find a small camel pose. And this is just a little back bend, folks. Don't get like too crazy with it yet. Bring your hands behind you and then press your feet and your shins down to lift your hips up high. So you're definitely not going to go as far as you would in a normal camel pose here. Take one good breath in. Exhale. Sit down on your heels. Look forward, lean forward, plant your palms, tuck your toes, and send it up and back into your downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward and come into a runner's lunge. Come up on the tented fingertips and place your left hand on your sacrum. So the right hand stays on the floor. The right palm should be lifted. Look forward. Imagine you're tracing a line that goes up the front wall until the right eyeball is directly overhead. Use your left hand, take that inventory, and notice where you need to adjust. Most likely you could lift the inner right hip bone up and hug the outer left hip in. Right butt to the right, left butt to the left, and we're feeling pretty good here. Reach the left arm overhead. Inhale the top arm forwards. And on your out breath, forward fold. Step the back foot up to meet your front foot. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up to stand. Reach the arms up as high as you can. And then stay this tall as you come into Tadasana. Maybe get even taller as you reach fingers to floor. Inhale the arms up. This time, left foot steps to the right. Arms are behind you, so we're in the small curtsy in the legs. So the left knee is behind the right knee. Your eyes and chest are forward. Frame your front right foot with both of your hands and step the left foot to a runner's lunge. Inhales, lengthen. Downward facing dog. Right foot next to your left foot. Inhale, look forward, shift forward to plank or a tuck-toed upward facing dog. Downward facing dog is the out breath. Last time we'll do this. Lower your knees, untuck your toes, child's pose. Reach your arms out, reach your arms back, frame your feet, and sit up on your shins and heels. If you want the back bend, walk your hands back a little bit more. Press your feet and your shins down. Baby camel is your in-breath. Exhale, hips to heels. Look forward, lean forward, plant your palms, and come into your downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, come into a runner's lunge, and this time I'm going to have you grab your blocks and put them the highest height underneath your hands. And even if like this is something you don't normally do, I want everybody to do this today. Inhale, dip your hips, lift your chest, look forwards. Press your right foot down, straighten out the front right leg, and come into this variation of pyramid pose with the back left heel lifted. And you keep the left heel lifted So you can go a little longer in your stance, but you can also reach the left heel back to straighten out the front leg more. Isn't that cool? Inhale, flat back. Exhale, walk your block hands over to the right. So now both of your hands are outside of the front right foot. And especially if you have tight hips, you have tight IT bands, like you might stay here. This is a great place to be, you guys. But if you want a little bit more, maybe you can walk your block hands so far to the right that your chest, your torso, your head, neck, and shoulders are perpendicular with your hips. And you'll notice the more you walk your hands over to the right, the more you're going to pivot onto the outer edges of both of your feet. So your toes might actually end up pointing in the same direction. 5, 4, 3, for 2, walk your block hands back through center, place them somewhere near the top of the mat, and then unwind your legs. So we're going to end up in a straddle pose. Straighten out both of your legs and parallel the short edges of the feet with the short edges of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Hands on your hips, squeeze the elbows together and come up to stand. Step to a Tadasana at the top of the mat. And on your next inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach the arms overhead. Right foot steps to the left, curtsy in your legs, arms are behind you, right knee's in front of the left knee. Look forward, plant your hands, step your right foot, runner's lunge, inhale, heart forward. Exhale is plank to Chaturanga, lower halfway. Inhale to your back bend, upward facing dog, like a traditional variation with the toenails pressing down. And as you exhale, take it to a downward facing dog with the hips up high. Step your left foot forward and come into a runner's lunge, please. Grab your blocks, bring them the highest height underneath your hands. Inhale, dip your hips, lift your chest, and look forwards. Press the left foot down to straighten out the front left leg. And again, I want you to keep the right heel lifted. I want you to keep the right heel reaching back to straighten out the front left leg more. We're using what's behind us to change and control what's going on in front of us. Inhale, flat back. Keep the long spine. As you exhale, walk your block hands over to the left. And folks, I'm actually going to move a little bit just because I have a wall to my left for demonstration purposes. Maybe this is it. Like, maybe you don't go that far. But if you're feeling pretty good today, and maybe this went pretty good on the first side, begin to walk your block hands over to the left. So maybe you can get your torso perpendicular with your hip bones. But if you're trying to go further, and all of a sudden you notice you have stopped breathing, maybe do a little bit less. Like, find a place that challenges you for sure, but find a place where you can beat, you know? 5, 4, 3, or 2. Unravel your legs. Place your block hands somewhere near the top of the mat, and then unravel your legs to the right. We're coming into straddle pose. So again, just a pit stop straddle. Inhale, flat back. Hands on your hips. Squeeze the elbows together and come up to stand. Step to a Tadasana at the top of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up high. Left foot steps to the right, curtsy in your legs, reach the arms back. Look forward, frame the front right foot, left foot steps, runner's lunge, inhales lengthen. And on your out breath, plank to Chaturanga, lower halfway. Inhale, find your back bend, upward facing dog, press the tops of the feet down. And then send it up and back to your downward facing dog for 5, 4, 3, for 2, full breath in on 1, On empty, look forward, bend into the knees, hop, spring, or hop to a forward fold at the very top of your space. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Feet together, inhale, chair pose. Bend into the knees as much as the knees will bend, and then lift the heart and the chest up. Look forwards. Bring your hands to prayer at the heart. Come up to stand. And meet me in Tadasana with the arms by the sides. So we'll do one round of like a very slightly modified Sun B. Bend into your knees, sink low into your seat on your inhale, chair pose. Belly to thighs, hands to floor. Forward fold is the out breath. Inhale, flat back, prepares for chaturanga. And on your exhale, chaturanga, lower halfway. Inhale finds your back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, please come into your downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up into a three-legged dog and take a full breath in. Exhale, knee in between the elbows, pause. And do that 2 more times. Three-legged dog, full breath in. Exhale, knee in between the elbows. Last one, inhale to 3. And as you exhale, knee in between the elbows. Step your right foot forward to your right thumb and come up into a warrior 1. Inhale brings you up to stand. And as you exhale, chaturanga to lower. So at the bottom of your exhale, inhale, come up into your back bend, upward facing dog. And at the top of your inhale, exhale brings you to a downward facing dog. Left leg lifts, three-legged dog. Inhale. Knee in between the elbows. Exhale. Leg stays lifted. Three-legged dog. Take a full breath in. Exhale. Knee in between the elbows. Inhale to 3. Knee in between the elbows. Step the left foot as far forward as you can. And at the bottom of your exhale, please come up, warrior 1. Inhale. Chaturanga is the out breath. Maybe find a pause in the bottom of your push-up so that you can feel your breath. Inhale to your back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. And breathe. And again, just land here. The hips are lifting up and back. The gaze is in between your feet and your heels energetically lengthen down towards the floor. Full breath in. On empty, look forward, bend into the knees, hop, spring, or step to a forward fold at the top of your space. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Bend deep into the knees, lift the heart high. And then as you look forwards, bring your hands to prayer at the heart and find a twist to the right. So the left elbow is going to connect outside of the right thigh. Do the work of a back bend as you reach the chest forward. Maybe the left eyeball goes slightly up towards your ceiling. And keep pressing your palms together well. Hold the pose. Keep doing those things I just told you to do. And pluck your left foot off the floor. So you're like a twisted flamingo on your right leg. And maybe this is fast. Maybe this is slow, but step your left foot to the back of the mat so you're in a twisting high lunge. Yeah, so if you're looking for something to do with the eyes, like I said before, left eyeball just goes straight up to the ceiling. But if that's too much too soon, maybe look forward, maybe even look down, depending on what you need today. One more, inhales, lengthen. And as you exhale, warrior 2. Windmill the arms up and open. And then let's straighten out the front right leg. heel toe shorten your stance a little bit. So you got about one leg's distance between your 2 feet on the floor. Shift your hips back. Reach your tailbone towards your inner left heel. Trikonasana, triangle pose. For me today, guys, I'm going to put a block outside of my right foot. And I didn't actually intend on cueing this, but I'm going to do it since I'm doing it, actually. If you want to put your left hand on your sacrum, I think that's a great idea. You know, it helps you take the inventory. It actually, like, gives you a little bit more of, like, a tangible, tangible feedback what your body's doing. And then once you're feeling pretty good here, could you reach the left arm up and overhead? So the left shoulder is leaning back. Both of the feet are pressing down. And maybe the right eyeball goes skyward towards the left thumb. I've been trying to teach more neck stuff lately because I know, like, we're in the middle of, like, you know, COVID and we're all looking at our phones and computers a lot more. I think we forget that, like, we gotta open up our necks as well as all the other fun stuff we open up in yoga with, like, big postures like triangle pose. Look down at the floor. Begin to softly bend into the front right knee and come into an Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. And just like we've done with the last 3 poses, could you try and get the right eyeball up and overhead? And I feel like this one especially is probably the toughest one to get the eyes skyward, because that's when we wobble and lose our balance a little bit more in this half moon shape. Imagine someone's pulling you up by the left wrist to the ceiling, and I can't see you, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say you could probably lift that left leg up a whole lot more than you think. Inhale, half moon. And on your exhale, warrior 2. Step the left foot back. Inhale, reverse. Stay light in your left hand. And on your out breath, please come into a plank pose. Step your right foot next to the left foot. Stay in plank in the upper body and drop your heels to the left in the lower body. So the left big toe should be more or less either touching or just a few inches away from your right heel. And then come into a stagger-footed side plank with the right arm reaching overhead. Lift your hips up as high as your hips will lift. And swim the top right arm forward so the bicep is by your ear. You're externally rotating at the left shoulder, so the left bicep rolls forward. But meanwhile, you're internally rotating at the right arm, and the right tricep is turning down to face your face. Full breath in, and as you exhale, plank to Chaturanga Vinyasa. Please meet me back in your downward facing dog. And find your breath. So slowing down the inhales, slowing down the exhales. Full breath in. And on empty, look forward, bend into your knees, hop, spring, or step to a forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. This is the last one. Get excited. Inhale, chair pose, bend into your knees, sink your hips low. And then look forward. Bring your hands to prayer at the heart and find a twist over to the left. Hook the right elbow outside of the left thigh. So do the work of up dog, reach the heart forward. Your tailbone reaches down and back towards the back edge of your mat. And then maybe the right eyeball begins to turn up towards your ceiling. So where the gaze goes, the body goes as well. So when you look up in these poses, that's going to affect and that's going to change the twist and just put you in a better position. Stay in the twist, but pluck your right foot off the floor. Maybe it's fast, maybe it's slow. Maybe you catch some hang time while you're here. Twisting high lunge. Step the right foot down, but keep finding the back bend in your chest and torso. Hug the outer left hip in and lift the inner right hip bone up. Left butt to the left, right butt to the right. Inhale the heart forwards. Warrior 2 is your out breath. Ground the back right heel down and right away. Straighten out the front left leg and begin to set up your stance for Trikonasana triangle pose. So I want you to keep this upwardness that you have going on with the torso. To come into triangle pose, reach your tailbone towards your back right heel, shift your hips back, and put your hand on your shin, foot, or block outside of the front leg. Maybe the left eyeball goes skywards. The feet are pressing down. The inner left thigh externally rotates forward, but meanwhile the inner right thigh internally rotates back. It's almost like you're trying to hug them in towards one another. Look down at the floor. Softly bend into the front left knee. Walk your left hand less than a foot away from your standing leg and meet me in your Ardha Chandrasana half moon pose. And if you added the eyes before, maybe the left eyeball starts to ascend here. And just like we had in triangle pose a few moments ago, the inner left thigh externally rotates forward and the inner right thigh internally rotates back. Imagine someone's pulling you up by the right wrist. Lift the right leg up a little bit more. Take 2 more breaths. Inhale. Warrior 2. Right foot steps long and back as you exhale. Inhale, reverse. Stay light through the right hand. Lift the left arm high. Exhale, plank pose. Plant your palms and step your left foot next to your right foot. Keep the work of plank in the upper body and drop your heels to the right. So you have this stagger-footed shape happening in your feet. Stagger-footed side plank. Keep the right hand down, lift the left arm high. Lift your hips as high as your hips will lift, so you're pressing down to the edges of your feet. And then reach the top left arm forward, so you have this side body bend on your left waist. Externally rotate the right shoulder, right bicep rolls forward, and then internally rotate the left arm, left tricep towards your face. Inhale. Exhale is plank to chaturanga. Vinyasa. Pick your favorite way to go to downward facing dog. And then lock your hands to a forward fold at the back of your mat. Bring your feet 2 fists width distance apart. And take your 2 peace fingers and toe lock your big toes for yoga toe lock, please. And if you're looking for something to do with your thumbs, place the padding of the thumb on the yoga mat right in front of the big toe. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. So I actually want you to bend into your elbows a little bit more today. And when you do, I want you to find that external rotation in your arms. So you're thinking biceps forward, triceps back. So there's a little bit of chaturanga in your arms, and your elbows should be pointing to the back of the room. Reach the crown of the head to the floor. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. And let's breathe for 3. For 2. Unlock your big toes on 1 and inhale, flat back. Padahastasana. Slide your hands underneath your feet. So on the one hand, I want you to get your toe tips up into the wrist creases. And kind of similar to what we did on the toe lock, externally rotate at the shoulder. So you're not going to get as much of a bend as you did before. This is a little bit more of like a subtle sensation. but your biceps are still trying to roll forward and your elbows are still kind of pointing back. For 3. For 2, take your hands out from underneath your feet on 1, and on your next inhale, please find a flat back. Hands on your hips, squeeze the elbows together, and leading with your chest, come up to stand. Okay. Please bring, excuse me, bring your left leg into tree pose. So I want to ask that you keep your right foot on the floor. And when your left foot finds your standing leg, really the only part of the leg I don't want the foot is the kneecap. So it could be on your inner thigh, your inner calf, or maybe even on the shin and the floor. Hook your right thumb in front of your left thumb and reach the arms out in front of you about shoulder height. Wu-Tang Mudra. Lift the arms up into the ceiling so the biceps are alongside the ears. For the record, this means Wu-Tang to me, and it always has meant Wu-Tang to me. I don't know if this is like an actual yoga mudra or what it's called. If you know, let me know. Otherwise, for the time being, I'm just going to keep calling it Wu-Tang Mudra. Maybe you can look up and see your hook grip. Press the right foot down to lift the standing thigh bone up. And then what if I asked you to reach the outer right hip down towards the inner right heel? Full breath in. Exhale, Tadasana, left foot down and arms are by your sides. Second side, what do we do? Super simple. Bring your right foot into tree pose. I actually almost forgot that for a second. It was one pose. It's like, that's the thing I forget today, right? Reach the arms out in front of you. Left thumb underneath the right, or left thumb in front of the right thumb, Wu-Tang Mudra. And then reach the arms overhead. So the biceps are by your ears. You're trying to pull your thumbs apart. But don't forget about what you're doing on the floor. Press your left foot down and reach the outer left hip towards the inner right heel. So remember, you're trying to go down as much as you're trying to go up. And you're trying to go up as much as you're trying to go down. One more inhale. Tadasana is the exhale. Both feet on the floor. Arms are by your sides. Turn your palms forward. Externally rotate at the shoulders. Inhale the arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. Lean forward a lot as you exhale. Uttanasana. Come into your fold. Inhale, flat back. And then make your way to downward facing dog. Whether you take a vinyasa, maybe modify a vinyasa and make something up, but come into downward facing dog. All right. So we're going to do one more piece of standing series here. And what I would like you to do is step your right foot forward and come up into a warrior one. Reach the arms up into the ceiling. Straighten out the front right leg, shorten your stance, and put your right hand on your right hip bone. So we're going to set up for a revolved triangle pose here. Lifting out of your left waist, inhale, reach the left arm up higher. Keep that extension as you slowly, and dare I say dramatically, reach the left arm forward, reach the left arm forward, reach the left arm forward, until you bring it to the floor or maybe a block, maybe inside, maybe outside of the front leg. And again, this is another great pose. I know we've done this a few times today, where you can keep the hand on the sacrum to take the inventory of what your body is doing. Maybe the left eyeball goes up into the ceiling. And if this is going pretty well for you, reach the right arm up as well. Press the left foot down and back more to turn the left hip bone towards the inner right thigh. And then press the left hand down almost like you would do in a side plank to get more extension across your chest and inevitably up into the right arm. Inhale the top arm forwards. Both hands down, frame the front right foot for this more conventional pyramid shape. Runner's lunge, rebend into the front right knee. And then we're going to take a pit stop in straddle pose. Walk your hands to the left, parallel your feet with the short edges of the mat, and inhale, flat back. Hands on your hips, squeeze the elbows together, and leading with your chest, come up to stand. Warrior 2 to the front of the room. Bend deep into the front right knee. Reach the index fingers away from one another and check the length of your stance. Make sure your hands and wrists are right over the feet. The back left toes turn slightly in. Your back left leg continues to internally rotate. But meanwhile, the front leg is externally rotating. The inner right thigh is going up. Inhale, reverse tip back. Extended side angle. Put the right hand inside of the right foot. And reach the left arm straight up into the ceiling. So you're broad across your chest and collarbone. Internally rotate at the left shoulder. Turn your left palm back. And then go for a half or potentially a full bind. So real important, if you're taking, really any variation in this pose, you're trying to turn your heart center up into the ceiling. You're trying to maintain that sidewaysness of the chest. And sometimes when we go for the bind, the chest collapses, the butt sticks out. So if you feel like you're in a shape like this, maybe do a little bit less with a half bind or just an extended side angle pose. But whatever you have, keep it. Bring your gaze down to the floor, and if you have a full bind, begin to shorten your stance. So option to take a full bound, Ardha Chandrasana half moon. And if this isn't working today, take a half bound or maybe a no bound. If you're in the full bound variation, find a point on the floor, something that's not moving with the eyes. Really lean into your standing right leg. So maybe you can get that left foot to float off the floor. And I'm going to stop talking because it's hard to do this and talk at the same time. Inhale. Warrior 2, left foot steps back. Exhale. Straighten out the front right leg and step up into a Tadasana at the top of the mat. I didn't know how that was going to go. If you've been following along with me at home the last few months, you know I have like a broken toe. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for a second. Good for me. And then let's keep going. Bring the right knee into the belly and your hands at prayer at the heart. Flex through the right foot and come into figure 4. I really wanted to let you guys know that. Maybe you stay here. If you want a little bit more, bring your hands down to the ground. Flex through the right foot wherever you went. And maybe this is where you stay. I wouldn't really say we've done like a ton of upper body stuff today, but if you would like to take a flying crow, Ekapada Bakasana, plant your palms, lean forward so you can get the right shin on the backs of your triceps, and flex with the right foot so much that it almost wraps around the left arm like a puzzle piece. Begin to lean forward. And remember, in order to go up, in order to lift the left leg off the ground, you have to put something down. So as you lean forward, press into your hands so much, it's like the floor is pressing back with you with the same amount of force. And then to get the left leg extended, press the right shin forward into the arms. For 5, 4, 3, for 2, coming out the way we came in, step your left foot onto the floor, hands to prayer at your heart, come up to stand, right knee into the belly, Tadasana. Both feet down, arms are by your sides. Inhale the arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, flat back, prepare for chaturanga. Exhale, chaturanga. Vinyasa. We'll take 5 breaths in downward facing dog. My yoga mat is like slowly but surely sneaking towards the top left corner of my room. At some point it might go off camera. That's okay. Step your left foot forward and come into a warrior 1, please. Ground the back heel down, and on an inhale, upright your torso. Straighten out the front left leg. Keep the right arm lifted, but put your left hand on your left hip and shorten your stance a little bit. Setting up for our revolve triangle pose. Lift out of the right waist. Inhale, right arm higher. And as you exhale, reach the right arm forward. So you're controlled, you're slow on your descent. Revolve triangle pose. Hand to floor or possibly the block. The other thing about hand on the sacrum that I like when you're setting up for these standing poses is, the top arm, the lifted arm, that's just an accessory piece. So you think about what you're doing with your feet. You think about what you're doing with your right hand on the floor. You think about what you're doing with your legs, your hips, your chest, your head, your face, your eyes. And then once your foundation is as good as you think it will get, then reach the left arm up. Sometimes we just flail the left arm up and we really do forget about what we're doing with everything else. There's a lot going on. That's why yoga can keep us so attentive and in the moment, because we're always thinking about these things. And just when you have thought about everything, the teacher says something like, inhale, reach the left arm forward. Exhale, you're out of it already. Pyramid pose, frame the front left foot. Runner's lunge, rebend into the front left knee. And then take it to a straddle pose. Straighten out both of your legs and parallel your feet. Inhale, flat back. Keep the work of cow in your spine. Put the hands on your hips. Lead with your chest. Come up to stand. Warrior 2 to face the front. So the left toes point straight ahead. The back right toes turn slightly in and up the mat. The hands and the wrists are right over the feet and the ankles. And your chest is turning to face the right side of your space. Inhale, reverse, stay light to the right hand as you tip back. And the left hand's going inside the left foot today. Extended side angle with the right arm straight up into the ceiling. Internally rotate at the right shoulder. So the right palm is back, the right thumb turns to the back of the room. Half, or potentially a full bind. So the left arm weaves up and underneath the front left leg. The outer edge of the right foot is pressing down. The tips of the ears are going forward. The left eyeball is going up. And the left hip hugs underneath you. And if you modified before, you'll modify again here. But if you want that full bound expression, begin to shorten your stance. So it's like you're in this really, for a lack of better words, ugly bound triangle pose, right? Find something to focus your eyes on as you lean into your left leg. And then eventually lift the right leg off the floor. So the key, I think, to this pose is to come into it slowly. If we use momentum, like if we use the back right leg to kick up, there's a good chance we'll eat it. Or the leg will just come down and sail us. You probably won't eat it. I doubt you will. Whoa. Full breath in. And on your exhale, take it back for your Vajrasana B. Straighten out the front left leg and step up to a Tadasana at the top of the space. Bring your hands to a prayer position at your heart and begin to lift the left knee into the belly. Flex through the left foot and come into a figure 4 with the left shin on top of the right thigh. This is option 1. Maybe this is where you stay. If you would like to fold, bring your hands onto the floor or maybe the blocks. And whether you're folding, whether you're upright, whether you're going to go for the arm balance in a few moments, flex the left foot still. So you have that 90-degree angle in the ankle to protect the left knee. Look forward. If you want the arm balance, plant your palms and begin to hug your elbows towards one another, just like you would do in Chaturanga. Press the palms down to lift the right foot off the ground. And then press the left shin and the left foot into the triceps to reach the right leg back. It's not happening for me on this side today, you guys. But if you know it, you know it. If you're trying it, you're trying it. Do what you can for 5, 4, 3, for 2. Hands to prayer at the heart. Come up to stand, left knee into the belly. And then meet me in Tadasana with both feet down and the arms by your sides. Inhale the arms out and up. Keep that length. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. And as you exhale, Chaturanga, Vinyasa to your downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lower your back knee down. So I want to offer you folks a half or even a full split here today. So there's a good chance you might need a couple blocks for this. If you have a third block, that might also be super helpful. If you're staying with the half split, just straighten out the front right leg. And just like we did in figure 4 a few moments ago, stay active through the front foot as you pull the toes in towards your face. If you want a little bit more, begin to reach the right leg out in front of you. So your hips are going down, but you're lifting up and out of the belly. Your shoulders are soft. And then if you can keep that upwardness through your torso, then maybe walk your hands forward a little bit more. If you have a third block and you need a little bit more support, you could put it underneath your right butt or even your right hamstring. And then breathe. The right thigh bone is drawing back, the left thigh bone is drawing forwards. So even though we're going out with the legs, we're still trying to create that sensation of going into the midline, into the hip sockets. Inhales, lengthen. As you exhale, start to shorten your split. And however you would like, please make your way back to downward facing dog. Take the push-up, skip the push-up. Maybe you just take the plank to tuck-toed up dog if you'd like. I think that feels really nice in the hips personally. And then second side. Step your left foot forward and lower the back right knee down. So starting with the half split. Straighten out the front left leg. And flex the left foot well. So even though, yes, we are creating length here, we're still trying to maintain stability in the pose. If you took the full variation, begin to sneak the left leg out in front of you. Lift out of the belly. Keep the back bend in your torso. And then if you can keep that, then walk your hands forward. So the idea is not necessarily to fold over your legs, right? I want you to maintain the back bend, lifting out of the belly, and then pitch forward. And the left foot kicks forward, but at the same time, the left thigh bone draws back. And same with the back leg, right foot goes back, but right thigh bone goes forward. So you're still square in your hips. One more inhale. Exhale, we'll take a pit stop and half split. And then make your way back to dog. Do what you gotta do on your way there. Like I said before, for me, I like to take a super brief tuck-toed up dog to give my hip flexors a little bit of a counter pose. And then eventually make your way onto your backs. Let's see, how are we doing on time? We are running out of time. That's okay. We'll take 2 back bends today. I think 2 back bends will be good. And unless you're taking a supported back bend, set up for bridge pose. Walk your feet in toward your body. Reach the fingertips forward. Inhale, lift your chest. And as you exhale, lift your hips. You know what? Let's just set up for a wheel pose from here. I'm feeling pretty ready. My shoulders are feeling pretty good about this. But if you want to stay in bridge, you stay in bridge. If you're with me on wheel, reach the arms overhead and bring your hands wide to frame your face. Inhale, come up onto the crown of your head first. And on your exhale, full expression of wheel pose. Press your feet down and forward and reach your heart back. It's really hard for me to talk and cue wheel at the same time, so I might get a little quiet on back bends. Inner thighs roll to the floor. And then try to keep your butt soft. Notice if you're squeezing it. And then on an exhale, lower your upper back, your middle back, your lower back, your hips, and eventually your tail. Okay. One more. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift the heart and chest up. Bridge pose is the exhale. And if you're with me on wheel, inhale, bring your hands out wide to frame your face and come up onto the crown of the head first. Wheel pose, straighten out the arms. So you can do this if you're in bridge or wheel. If you want a little bit more, lift your heels off the floor. So it's almost like you're wearing a high heel. Try to lift your butt up a little bit higher. And then without losing the height of your bum, try to lower your heels back to the floor. Four more breaths if you can. In and out through the nose. And when you're over it, on an exhale, come back to the floor. And find Supta Baddha Konasana with the legs, soles of the feet together, knees out wide. If you need support for your hips, you could put blocks underneath your thighs and knees. And then yogi's choice what you want to do with the arms. Maybe you just leave them by your sides. Maybe you place your hands somewhere on your torso, on your belly, and in your chest. Or reach the arms overhead in some capacity with the arms on the floor. Steady the breath. And see if you can control the exhales out of your nose. Step your feet on the floor as if you were about to come back up into bridge pose. I want to offer one plow pose, but if you would like a modification, I would recommend legs up the air with either a block or a bolster underneath the sacrum. If you're with me for plow, place your arms by your sides and take an inhale. Press your palms down, lift your feet, legs, lower back, middle back, and reach your feet towards the back of the mat. And like I said before, if this bothers your shoulders, if this bothers your neck, take the legs up the air with the prop and step. Maybe place your hands on the lower back for support. And then yogi's choice. Your legs could be straight, almost like they were doing a flat back, lifting the inner thighs up into the ceiling. Or maybe your knees are bent and they almost drape around your ears. And we'll eventually meet in Shavasana. Take your time. No rush. If there's anything in particular you like to do for your rest, maybe you place props underneath your knees. Maybe you put blankets over your body or even a strap over the eyes to cover or to block out any external light. And we'll just be here for 3 minutes today. And if you think you want more than 3 minutes, feel free to just turn the computer off or put it to the side or do whatever you want to do. But if you'd like to stay with me, settle down into your stillness and take a full breath in. Open up the mouth, exhale, clear it away. No more work. No more effort. Shavasana. breath. And start to invite some smaller movements back into the body. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, the hands, and eventually the feet. And almost like you could bring your Shavasana with you, slowly bend into your knees and step your feet onto the floor. Hug the knees into the belly. And then keeping your eyes closed and using as little effort as possible, please make your way up and into a comfortable seat, facing the front, facing your monitors. To seal in your practice, please bring your hands to a prayer position at your heart. Guiding the thumb knuckles up and into your sternum. Please invite a full breath in. Open up the mouth. Exhale, clear it away. Thumb knuckles to your forehead, your third eye center. Thank you for sharing your practices with me today. Go in peace. Namaste. Thank you, Elise. That is it for me for today. But as always, if you guys have questions, if you have comments, if you just want to say hi, leave one in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to like. And that's it. Hope to see you guys soon. I hope you guys had fun. And that's it. Thank you so much. Bye.